Hey guys, welcome back to Paracord Planet. We're diving back into the topic of Kumihimo today. This is something that we've done on the channel in the past, but we're going to do a little bit different pattern this time around. Kumihimo is usually done with things like soutache cord or yarn, but it works great with micro paracord too. So we've got some colors picked out, and we'll be doing just a simple braiding pattern. It's actually the same pattern that you would see if you looked really closely at 550 paracord. So in a way, we're going to be braiding paracord using some paracord. Let's get into what we need. So I've got 12 pieces of microcord, each cut down to 2 feet, and that's going to get us a bracelet-sized end result. And then we'll need about a foot of 550 paracord to weave that around. I do have some extra microcord here, just to make the clasp at the end, but that's not part of the actual braid. Some tape is going to help us get started, and then you'll of course need your Kumihimo disc. So to start out, we want to lay our cords right next to each other so that all of the ends are about the same. That way we don't run out of one cord before the others. And we want to set it up in a pattern of 5 blue, 1 yellow, 5 more blue, 1 yellow. That's going to give us a fun pattern to work with. Here's where our tape comes in. Take a small piece of any tape, and with those right next to each other, just put a piece of tape across it. Then we'll add in our 550 cord and peel that tape up, making sure that it stays attached to our cords. We'll then take that tape and wrap it around our 550 cord. And with 12 strands, they should sit evenly all the way around. About like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want the yellow cords to be in the right place in our pattern. So once that's in place, we'll take some of that extra cord, cut off a foot or so, and do a simple whipping around all of that. Once your whipping is in place, go ahead and pull that 550 cord through the bundle so that you have a couple inches to work with afterwards for our bracelet clasp. Once all that is anchored in place, go ahead and stick your bundle down through the disc, and we'll begin setting up these cords around the edge. So take your first cord and anchor it in place just like that, and then take the one right next to it. You want to make sure that these stay in order, and go right next to that one. And then we're going to be leaving a gap, and we'll go with our next cord. We're going to have 6 groups of 2 all the way around the circle. So the next one goes in that pair. Then we'll leave another gap. And the next one goes right next to that, all the way around the circle. Now, if you did this perfectly, you should have all of your pairs perfectly spaced around the edge. Mine didn't end up so perfect, so I'll adjust those quickly here. But what we really want is that our yellow cord is on the left side of this top pair and on the right side of this bottom pair. There we go. That one's looking much better. We've got all of our pairs evenly spaced. But to actually show you the braiding method, I'm going to set this one aside, and we'll bring out this color-coded one. So this is all in blue and red. The left side of each pair is red, and the right side is blue. And that's just going to make it easier to get the pattern down. So to start out, we're going to go with blue, and blue is going to be going around counterclockwise. Our red is going to be going clockwise. So we'll start with that blue, and I'm going to take just any blue and bring it counterclockwise to go next to another blue. Then moving the opposite direction, we'll take that next blue. So you don't want to mess with the one that has 3 now. You want to go to the next one that has 2 and bring that up to the other one. Keep on moving around. Blue up, blue up. And then once you get to that one with 3, we want to take that center one and move that just like we'd moved the other ones. And then we'll just take this blue one and scoot it closer so that our pairs are perfectly spaced again. So now we'll begin with our red, going the opposite direction. And once you complete the blues, you can start on any spoke. So we'll take this top one, move it there. Then this next red, so our pair of 2, we want to ignore that pair of 3 for now. Move that up, move that one up, and keep on going around until we get back to our 3s. Take that middle one up to our lonely blue and bring that red in next to the other blue. So that's really all there is to it. We're just going to alternate between blue and red. With our blue and red here, that would just give us spirals of red going one direction and spirals of blue going the other direction, and it would just be very busy. So we'll go back to our fun colors here and do the same thing. It takes a little bit more work to keep track of what you're doing when you don't have it color-coded like that. We'll go through that once with these colors as well. So just take any chord, bring it towards the left. So we have our set of 3. The next one is 2. Bring that up. Keep on bringing that bottom one up each time. And here we came back to our 3. So we'll take that middle one, bring it up to our lonely chord, and bring those 2 together. Then we just want to remember this next time we're bringing our chords this way instead. So if you stop right there, you just got to remember which one you were on next time you pick it up. So this is the same pattern we did with our blue and red. We're just not color coding it quite so nicely. So we're going to keep going with this and get a bracelet length out of it. It does take some time, but it's just a good project to sit in front of the TV doing, and comes up with a pretty nice result at the end. So as you go with this braid, you've got a little bit right here. You want to be pulling down on the end of it, and that's just going to make that braid go through the hole instead of it all getting tangled up right on the flat of that disc. So continue holding that and just make sure you're changing directions every time. I think I did a messed up early on here. You can see a little bit of a bald spot on my center cord. And there I think I just went the same direction twice. So if you see that, that's probably your problem, and you just need to make sure that each time you do the next step, you're changing directions. So we'll keep going with that and fill up the rest of our bracelet. All right, so I've gone and woven about 7 inches of this weave. And I can stop there because we'll need a little bit of space to do our clasps as well, to finish out that 8 inches that is my target length. So at this point, we can just stop weaving. I do have plenty of cord left, so you that like to conserve cord, you can probably get away with 1.5 feet instead of 2 feet for each cord, depending on your wrist size and how tight you weave this. We're going to leave this end in there for now, and I'm going to show you how to finish off this end before we do the other one. So how I like to do it is just cut off all of these cords right past our whipping. So it makes a little bit of a mess here until we finish it off nice. But now we can go ahead and just melt those down, and it actually makes a pretty nice looking finish. There we go. So we've got just a little bit left here. We'll leave the same length on the other side. We just want to do this whipping before we let all of our cords come out unbraided at the other end. So to do that, hold on to your braid just below your disc, and then go ahead and start unhooking those cords. There we go. And again, just hold on to those while we add our whipping on that end. And if you have a little bit of a gap like this with your weave loose, you can go ahead and just kind of slide that whipping up towards that direction. Once your whipping is done, you can go ahead and cut all of those microcords on that end, same way that we did on our starting end. So now that that's done, all we have left to do is to make our clasp. So you can do this any number of ways, but I'm just going to do it in a simple cobra over the top of both 550 cords. So take a scrap and just stick it underneath both. And if you know the cobra weave from standard paracord bracelets, just do a couple knots of that, and that should hold it tight. Make sure that you secure your ends well so that those don't slide out. And then that's pretty much it. We'll just clip off this end and call it a day. And at this point, you can make it whatever size you need for your wrist. You just want to make it big enough to slide on, and then you can cut your cords pretty close to your closure that way. So mine can be trimmed down a little bit more once I get it even. So that'll fit on my wrist. And we can clip both of these cords a little bit shorter. And there's our completed bracelet. So again, this is pretty much the same method that's used for making paracord itself. We've got 6 cords going one direction and 6 the other for a total of 12. Now on paracord, it's really tiny, but I think you can see it there. I think that's actually 32 strands going around. So we've got 16 in one direction, 16 in the other. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I've not done a lot of Kumihimo, but it's kind of fun the different patterns that you can make with it. One more time to just go over the mistakes that I made so that you don't have to repeat them. On our starting side, we did 2 times of going around the same direction, so we left a little bit of a gap. And then towards the middle, I don't know if you saw it in the time lapse, but there was a point where I wasn't pulling very tightly on the center strands, so it ended up a little bit looser. But the rest of it turned out pretty consistently, and I'm sure you can improve on mine. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments if you like me going over my mistakes at the end, or if you'd rather just have the illusion that I'm the perfect paracord crafter. That's fine too. I'll put a link down in the description for all the supplies that we used in this tutorial. So in this case, that's a 550 cord, the microcord, and then of course these Kumihimo discs. We've got a couple different sets and sizes of those. Thanks for watching, guys, and we hope to see you around in our next video.